So we've all felt this way, haven't we? We open our phones in the morning and we see all our friends on vacation or getting promoted or getting signed to record labels. You name it, we've all seen it. And the worst time to be seeing these things on social media is when you feel like you are in a place where you are stuck and your life is not going anywhere. This unfortunately was me for most of 2024. For those of you who don't know, I am a full-time musician and I was able to turn it into a full-time career in 2020 when the world shut down and everything went online. I was now no longer limited by space and where I lived. I was doing sessions for people all over the world over Zoom, and then also I had opportunities with getting my music into film and TV at a time where everybody was watching TV because there was nothing else to do. I was able to get to the point where I was essentially making enough money for my wife to quit her job that she hated to eventually be a full-time stay-at-home mom. You know, that was just kind of how we were building our lives, and it was great and we were loving it, and that's kind of how we wanted things to be. I was getting consistently booked for music festivals and big shows and private events and all of these different events going on in the city that I lived. I was pretty much booked solid with production work, with gigs, and I didn't feel like there was ever going to be an end to that. And then fast forward to 2024, all at once, the year that my child was born and money was the most needed, I guess, all my opportunities kind of fell through all at the same time. I stopped getting booked for the shows I was getting booked for. People that I was producing music for were at the end of their cycles, so essentially they were focusing on putting out the songs that we had spent months and even years recording. And so all of a sudden the well had dried up for actual project-based work. Now what? This is terrible. This is the first time since I started taking music full time that I've been in this situation where I actually don't know what to do anymore. I was so and am so thankful that royalties were still coming in from everything that I'd been working on, which totally kept us afloat. But like, it was really tough and it was really discouraging because on top of that, a lot of people that I knew in that year were getting signed to record deals. They were getting taken on tour. Things were just opening up for them, and it was just like every time I went on social media, I just remember seeing people sharing this crazy good news from their careers, and I was just sitting there like having another email come up saying like, hey, sorry, we're not going to book you this year for this festival because we've booked you for the last 4 years in a row and we want to try booking some new people, which I get, but also when you're really depending on the income because it comprises most of your summer income, let's say, and that's no longer a thing, it's hard. It sucks. And then when my daughter was born, she was quite sick and we spent a week in the NICU with her, which was really rough. And basically after that, I didn't work for a while. It was hard to work. It was taking care of a new child that had a traumatic entry into the world. You don't really feel like you have the mental capacity or even physical capacity to work. There was just so much that was falling through the cracks. So then in that time, I wrote this song called Lose, which was basically encapsulating what I felt in that year of just feeling like you were staying static in your life and you're seeing everybody around you, all your peers that you were coming up with pass you and starting to do better than you and get further than where you were at, and like feeling stoked for them, but also feeling left behind. And I think that's what the song is about. I put out this question on Instagram where I basically asked how other people have felt this show up in their lives, like feeling left behind. And the responses I got were insane. I had people telling me and sharing with me that they've been trying to have children for years, unsuccessfully, and then showing up at birthday parties for their friends' kids. And every single time there's more kids and it's always someone else's kids, and all their friends are just having more kids, and they just have not been able to have any kids. I've had people share that they have been perpetually single. They have not been able to find a good person or any people to have a relationship with. I had people share about working towards careers and putting everything that they had into a certain job that then eventually just didn't amount to anything, and someone else was chosen for a promotion that they felt like they were deserving of. I had moms share about how they have been unable to lose weight after having their child, and how all their other friends who had babies are now looking the same way they did before they were pregnant, and they just don't know what's wrong with them, and they're doing all the diets and all the workouts and everything, and it's just not happening, and they just feel really self-conscious every time. One of their friends posts a picture of their, holiday in Mexico, and they're just, looking ripped. It's just like, this shows up for everybody. It doesn't even matter who you are. Even the people who look like they are right now moving forward, this shows up for them still. And I think that one of the worst things, probably top 5 worst things about social media, is that you get to see what everyone is doing all the time. Also, they just get to curate what they want you to see them doing, which is even worse. Everyone's gonna share when they're vacationing in Hawaii. Everyone's gonna share when they're getting signed to a record deal. Everyone's gonna share when they're pregnant or they just had their child. Everyone's gonna share those things. And there's nothing actually inherently wrong about that. There's nothing wrong about sharing the good things in your life, because you should be able to share those things. But the problem is when we allow the wins and the victories of other people to diminish where we feel like we are at in our lives. And so there's a very vulnerable time to use social media. And that should almost be a time where we completely back off social media. Believe it or not, there was a time in history when you only really knew the updates of the people in your close circles, people who you could actually phone call or who you would actually just see in person every day. But now we live in a time where you can see millions and millions of people's wins. And you can just go on social media and you can see people that you don't even know, people you didn't even know 5 minutes ago, who just come up on your algorithm, who are doing incredible, fun, amazing, successful things in their lives. And suddenly you feel crappy because someone you don't know is doing better than you, which that is when it becomes really toxic. I wrote Lose as a kind of a way to almost journal and express these emotions and just getting them out in the world. And I put this song out not because I'm necessarily still in that place in my life, because to be honest with you, I've been doing a lot better since I wrote that song. But I knew that people would relate to it, because I still relate to it from time to time. And I know that even just from putting out that post on Instagram, there's a lot of people who relate to this in different ways than I do. But the thing about feeling this way is that it often pushes you to try things that you wouldn't have tried otherwise. I will be honest, I got really comfortable living in the city that I lived in, because I was kind of getting fed all these amazing opportunities left, right, and center, and I didn't ever feel like I needed to do anything to challenge myself or to grow past that until all those opportunities stopped. And now suddenly I'm just like, what do I even do anymore? So because those things happened, I actually made the decision to move to Nashville, because I didn't know what else to do. I felt like my career was either going to have to shift drastically to being something maybe not even related to music, or I was going to have to pivot in a way and figure out a new way to make this thing work. And so because 2024 happened the way that it did, it pushed me and forced me to make the decision to move to Nashville, to move to a different country and a different city, and go through all the hassle and hard work to make that happen in order to actually just give myself another shot at doing this. And this is where I'm at now. I live in Nashville now, and I've been making incredible connections. I've had so many opportunities in the 2 months that I've lived here. I would have never got here if I hadn't had a year of trying everything and failing, and now I'm in this place where the possibilities are endless. And trust me when I say this, I am not a risk taker. 2024 really pushed me to either give up music or take a massive risk, which is what I did. And now I'm living in a new set of uncertainty, but in a place where the possibilities truly are endless, and I could, at any moment I could have something life-changing happen. But anyways, enough about that. I wanted to make this video to basically just give you some encouragement. Life has never gone the way that I would have planned for it to go. And I'm sure that you might feel the same way about yours. But the thing about it is that there are always going to be seasons, and there are always going to be seasons of great abundance and seasons of lack and seasons of comparison and seasons of having other people compare themselves to you. You just kind of have to find an equilibrium and a state where you can feel contentment in all of those seasons. Some of you may know that I'm a Christian, and 2024 really pushed me to rely on God more than I ever had to before. And I think for that reason alone, it was worth going through all that hardship. And I want to just share with you a Bible verse, whether you're a believer or not. I think that there's a lot to be gained from this. It's Philippians 4:12. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now, whether you're a believer or not, this verse just teaches about contentment and finding peace in whatever season of life you are in. And that is something that I'm going to be working on for the rest of 2025 and onward, is just finding a way to feel content, whether I have tons of work or very little, whether I'm in abundance financially or really struggling. I think it's such a key skill to have, and one that I'm going to be working on every single day, because I think that that is where true peace comes from in this life. Knowing that things could change at the drop of a hat, your life could change. It's just like everything could just fall into place literally today. And it's just about holding out hope for that, because it really could change at any moment. And so I just want to leave you with some encouragement to just keep pushing, keep going, just keep fighting through this hard season that you're maybe in right now, because I'm personally coming out of it slowly, and maybe you just need to make some sort of drastic change, or maybe not. Maybe you just need to hold on a little bit longer. I just hope that you can find contentment in whatever season you're in, because it is truly a superpower to feel that way even when things are not going your way. And also, get off social media. If that is a source of just constant comparison, then take a step back. You don't need to be on there. And I'd also appreciate if you gave my song Lose a listen. If you haven't heard it already, it is a song from my heart and from the core of the struggle that I was in. And, maybe it could bring you some comfort as somebody who relates to you where you're at right now. The song is linked in the description below. I'd really appreciate if you gave it a listen and shared it maybe with some friends who might also be going through a tough time right now. If you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button. I'm really trying to be consistent with posting videos this year. It's a goal that I have, and I would really appreciate your support on this channel. And I just hope you have a great day and a great week. I'm wishing you the absolute best, and I hope to see you again next week.